Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
What's up, dudes and dudettes? Welcome to another episode of the Hill Valley AV Club, which has become a very convoluted name, which I think we're probably going to be changing at some point.
I think you should just add more to it.
I know,
Hill
right?
Valley audio-visual club for people who like movies.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
really.
Joining us is the awesome MegaMagwitch. He has returned. He has survived having a baby. He looks great.
Ooh. You may hear, I know, right? I got my figure back right away. You may hear a screaming baby in the background faintly. Hopefully she passes out soon because I just fed her and passed her off to the wife. So.
Oh, it's all good, man. I know that all too well. But how have you? I guess let's kind of talk about you for a second. How's the transition been, going from no kid to kid? What's that life been like for you?
There's like 1,000,000% more kid in my life all of a sudden. I don't know what that's about.
What's it like getting interrupted sleep versus being able to?
What's wild? She sleeps like right through the night. Like it's only interrupted. Yeah.
Oh, I hate you so much right now.
She slept 9 hours last night, like straight through the night.
What?
Not even a peep. Not a problem.
You are so freaking lucky. You have no idea. Oh my gosh. I
know.
So envious of you right now.
I know, and I'm sure it won't last, as people say. But like,
yeah, Cody in chat saying it won't last.
If we wake her up, then she wakes up like to eat. But like, if we don't bother her, she just stays asleep. It's just Like, I'll stay up sometimes, like straight through the night, because normally we'd like wake up at 3 to feed her. So sometimes I'll just stay up and like stream that late, and then just like feed her. You know, like I'll just wake her up and feed her, then I'll go to bed. So it's really not interrupted sleep. It's just like a really messed up sleep schedule. But like some nights we're just like, she wakes up, we'll feed her, and she just doesn't. So
it's like whatever works. That's awesome though.
Yeah,
very cool. So
far,
Mrs. Mega's been adjusting okay, and
yeah, she just started going back to work last week. So now it's me and the kid like all day together, which is thrilling times, let me tell you.
Very cool. Now, how old is Mini Mega now? A couple weeks.
She's going on like she's like over 6 weeks old now.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. Time flies. It feels like she was just born.
Oh,
like,
just wait.
Really
wait. Our son is 6 months old today. And it feels like we've only had him for like a week. So get ready, man. It's the weirdest sensation. It's like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you know, as you get older, time tends to kind of go by quickly. But all of a sudden when you have like a whole nother human being to watch after, you kind of just stop paying attention. Like I wouldn't know if the sun set if I didn't look out the window.
I feel like you lose track of time because you're just constantly focused on, all right, don't screw this up, don't screw this part up, like don't break the kid, no, all right, do they need to eat? It's been too hard, they gotta eat. And then it's like,
oh, they smell, did they poo, did they throw up, what's going on, what's that smell?
Sense of my own time anymore. It's great. What a wonderful thing.
I'm looking forward to whenever we introduce solid food and it becomes a game of what's that smell. That's gonna be a fun game.
Bananas.
It's like, what is that? What food made refreshing. What smell today?
Now I have that to look forward to. I literally changed 2 poopy diapers like 10 minutes before this phone call.
Nice.
I'm ready.
Well, if it is your first time here, guys, this isn't a podcast about being new dads, but
welcome to the Hill Valley AV Baby Podcast.
Exactly. If it is your first time here, first time listening, or first time watching, if you're checking this out on YouTube or in the VODs, what we do, it's kind of a book club style, movie club, podcast roundtable discussion thing where I give you a movie to go watch on your own. The catch is it has to be on Netflix or Prime or a streaming service. And we come together and then discuss it, but also talk about other things we've been watching, you know, other TV shows or other movies that are in theaters right now, or documentaries or things we're looking forward to, whatever. But Mega hasn't been with us for a little while because him and Mrs. Mega just had a baby. and just checking in on them to see how they're doing. Because I'm curious. It's fun. It's fun to hear people's different experiences. I will say one thing that was kind of fun too with babiness is the different dad achievements you unlock over time. Like having your son like poo or your kid, your child poo or pee on you or throw up on you. Those are the easy ones. But I do ask, has anything made it onto your beard?
No. I think maybe just a little bit when I'm burping, like on the edge of the beard, but nothing like horrible.
It was the grossest thing ever. I had my son had just eaten, and we were still working on him getting used to being on his stomach and stuff, and he was laying on my chest. I was sitting on the couch, and he was resting on me, and then he just went he just went right on my beard, like it filled like almost most of my chin and just sat in there. It looked like a giant snot had hit my chin. I basically just held him out and just handed it to my wife. I'm like, I gotta go. Instantly just trying to run it out and comb it out, and it was, thankfully it didn't smell, but it's just like I didn't even want to talk because I don't even want to tell anybody about this right now.
You went and just sat and took a long shower, like you did the Ace Ventura when he's like crying, sitting in the shower while it's like blaring on him. After he finds out that Einhorn is Finkel.
Oh, Finkel is Einhorn. There's puke in my face and it never goes away. But the film this month, everybody, that we're going to be talking about is...
So anyway, The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. And I was very surprised. I was talking with Mega, trying to figure out what movie should we even do. And he suggested The Truman Show. And I think his reasoning was pretty sound, especially... he was talking about wanting to, look at, today's current trends with media and social media and, how relevant that movie is to... the current landscape of just entertainment consumption. And I think that's going to be probably one of the bestest part of the discussions we'll have tonight. But yeah, before we get into that though, what have you been watching the last couple months or so since you've been Papa and Dad?
I've actually been to the movie theater twice.
Yeah,
since we had this baby. Yeah,
nice.
We saw Ready Player One.
What'd you think? I haven't seen it yet.
It was okay. I guess I would describe it as just like an aggressively okay movie elevated by a bunch of things that make you go, oh, hey, look, I saw that.
Nice.
In the background. Yeah, I like that thing.
Do you think that kind of served as a detriment to the movie, like trying to get as much stuff in as possible, or did the movie just kind of have like its own issues?
I think it helped the movie because it's a very like just mediocre story that's already been told, I feel like, many times. There's nothing groundbreaking about the plot of Ready Player One, like its structure or its ideas that it's presenting. So I think if it's gonna be just the 80s nerd pop culture movie, lean into it, as much as you can. And they weren't like overly aggressive with it in the foreground. It was usually just like a lot of like background stuff or like things that were mentioned
very Easter eggy, like, oh, I see that thing, I know that thing.
It's a movie of 10 million Easter eggs, like the worst Easter egg hunt where they just poured like a billion of them in the grass and they were like, all right, there you go, kids. Like, yeah, but it was okay. It was fun. It was a fun movie, I suppose.
What was the second movie you saw?
The one where they can't make noise, and I forgot the name because I was thinking
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place, yeah, there it is. Yeah, that movie was excellent.
Nice. That is a movie that I want to see, and we are going to see. It's just trying to figure out when to go see it. Yes. It might be a weird movie to bring a kid to.
I think it's perfect to bring a kid to because, I mean, obviously babies will respect that it's a very silent film.
Absolutely. They'll know, like, hey, this is a quiet atmosphere, and you need to grow up and just shut your face.
I think bringing a baby to the movie could actually kind of enhance the experience a little bit because...
The extra tension? Tension
on top of tension. I mean, it's not like a spoiler. Like, there is a baby, like, in the movie that's, like, a plot point, so, like...
I've heard something about it. I don't want to spoil it, but I think I know something about one of the characters.
It's very, like... It's, like, an early on thing. That, like, she is pregnant or whatever. Like, it's not, like, a secret thing.
Right,
So, like, I feel like having a baby having an actual baby there and comparing, like, can I keep a baby quiet for the duration of a movie? How about for the duration of forever?
Yeah, right.
That's like,
how would you compare it to something like Signs in terms of what A Quiet Place is? I think some people maybe think that movie is going to be a horror movie, and I would like to think it's more of a thriller.
I think you're right. Signs is a good comparison because that's what I was kind of like thinking about while I was watching it. Like, very just kind of like leaves you a little uneasy, but it's not scary. It's really tense. I think A Quiet Place is the best movie I've ever seen for just making you feel tense all the time. Like, they had a pretty good core idea, and like they hit everything in the movie that would be like, wouldn't it be the worst if you couldn't make any noise and this happened? Like, they hit every single one of those things. It just makes you go like the whole time, like, stop. Like, they really nailed it. I think very, very well done movie. If you have to see one in theaters right now, that's the one that I would say, based on my having seen 2 movies that are in theaters right now.
Nice. Stuff that we've been watching lately, we started to watch the new Netflix series, Lost in Space. Have you had a chance to check that out yet?
I watched 1.5 episodes while half asleep, holding a baby that was like screaming at me. So
fantastic.
I really got the full picture of
nice. We're about like 5 or 6 episodes in, I think. So we're a pretty good ways in, and it's pretty good. I think it's all right. I didn't grow up watching Lost in Space, and I don't think I ever saw the reboot
in the
movie
60s,
either.
right? So
right, but I mean, there's ways to still see it, you know, like reruns or whatever.
But I feel like watching like 80s shows or like maybe even 70s shows, like as a kid, you could maybe get into them, but like 60s shows that started out black and white when you were a kid, you were like, I'm not watching that garbage.
Like, that's
like,
stupid.
That's stupid old garbage. Forget about that.
Right. But it was one of those things where I'm glad that they made some of the adaptations that they did. And the changes to the robot too. You know, the robot is very interesting in terms of, you know, not like a gimmicky thing. He actually is a character and almost has a threat as well, because there's just this unknown. You're not sure what his motives are. I watched that first episode and
I was like, what the fuck's up with this robot? Like, I was like, because like the second one started, I'm like, wait, the robot did what? I don't know. I don't know what's,
Yeah, it's like, what am I supposed to do?
Why are they keeping that robot? That robot seems really fucking, really dangerous. Very dangerous. I mean, like, terrifyingly dangerous, I guess.
Yeah, and
it's like a Terminator.
And he'll still say danger, Will Robinson, but like, we haven't heard him say anything else. But I don't know. I don't want to spoil too much for it because it is a pretty new series, but aesthetically, I think it's pretty good. And
that's where I'll give it major points. It's like, when I was watching it, I was like, this looks really good. None of the characters really grabbed me, but it looked really good.
I will say, I think the best comparison I can think of is treat the first 2 episodes like a long pilot episode that has 2 parts, where it's like a 2-hour premiere, because you don't actually see a full-on title intro like before a Netflix show, where it's like as the the character name or the credits, the opening credits, and it's like a title sequence when you get Lost in Space written in text. You don't see that till episode 3, and so to me that almost made it. And by the time you get to episode 3, you feel like your chess pieces are in place. You feel like things are ready to go.
You grasp the whole picture, and now
you grasp the whole picture. You feel like you've met all the characters at least, or at least the big players. It takes that long to kind of show everybody, but then after that, you're off and running. And I'm one of those guys too, because my TV time, and what my wife and I are kind of the same way. I don't want to have to wait a long time for a show to be good. If it's good, I'll go for it. If it sucks, I just don't want to put in the time. This almost lost it for me. And once we hit episode 3, I was good to go. The kids, I think, do a pretty good job. They're not like Spielberg kids, but they're not far behind either. Like, the boy is, I think it could be because of his age, I'm not sure, but the 2 girls are pretty good.
They seemed pretty good. I mean, I don't expect much from a boy that age when it comes to acting. It's not Stranger Things, I don't expect that I'm gonna
right.
get
Those kids are hard to find.
it's like a kid with a CG like robot in the first episode. Like I'm like, I really don't expect him to be doing an amazing performance. It's hard for anybody to act with like this character that there's nothing to really play off of. So
I'll say in subsequent episodes, it looks like they are going full practical with him.
I think at the end of the episode I watched, he kind of like transforms.
And like he's like got 2 feet.
I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, so they're throwing a guy in a suit now. Cool. Like
it is a cool looking suit though, I will say. And the design too reminded me a lot of Legion from Mass Effect.
Okay. All right, I got you.
Yeah, like the little like circle face or whatever. It looked very similar to me. And then we're re-binging Parks and Rec again because you need something to kind of lighten stuff up, which to me has kind of become our Office. The Office really wasn't a thing for us, but Parks and Rec was.
Gas.
I know, and I know that's gonna piss a lot of people off, but that's just kind of how it turned out for us.
They can both. They're both great. We binged Brooklyn Nine-Nine twice right after the baby was born.
That is a show that I regret not seeing before we cut cable.
Oh, it's on Hulu.
Yeah, we might have to just do it.
But that is the same creator as Parks and Rec. So if you like Parks and Rec, there's a good chance you will like Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. As same with The Good Place, I think it's called, is another show that he created.
Is it treated kind of the same way, where it's like a workplace style comedy like Parks and Rec?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is workplace style comedy.
Kind of like docu style, where it's a lot of like
it's not documentary style, which is interesting. I thought it would be at first, like when I heard about the show coming out. It's not documentary style. I don't know how to describe it. It's just got a nice. It's more cinematic than something like Parks and Rec is for sure, but it's got a good lightness to it for a police show. I don't know. Everybody excels in it. It's got a really good cast too. Just take old Mega's word for it.
All right, we'll give it a shot.
I think it might get canceled this season.
Oh no! But it's been going on for a while though, right?
I think it's in its 5th season right now.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good
run.
A good
run. Over 100 episodes. I mean.
Oh yeah. Then absolutely.
Get rid of it now. We're done with you. You had your chance.
And then we checked out 2 movies that I initially was unsure whether I wanted to see them at all. The new Ghostbusters with with Kristen Wiig.
I did not see that one. You were unsure if you wanted to see it. I was sure I did not want to see it.
I was pretty sure I did not, but I had an opportunity to see it for free, so I went for it. And I wish I didn't. I will say, okay, here we go. So, Paul Feig, I think, is a great comedy writer and a great comedy director. He had some of the best casting possible that should have been a knockout, an absolute knockout, with Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, and Kate McKinnon.
Leslie something? Is that her name? I can't remember her name.
Yeah. And Chris Hemsworth was actually quite funny in it. His parts, I think, were some of the best. But, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like it should have been better. And there were just some parts where it just felt like Leslie Jones. Thank you, Cody.
There it is.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I should have trusted my gut and just not watched it.
I'm glad to know that I've never heard anybody tell me that I have to see it. And you've really only further cemented in my mind that I probably won't see it.
Yeah, consider yourself vindicated.
I'll just watch Ghostbusters. How about I just watch
the original Ghostbusters? Yeah, and I think, speaking of the original Ghostbusters, I think that proved to be kind of a hindrance as well. As similar as they wanted to be, I think they tried too much to pay homage to what came before it. It was fun to get the cameos. The cameos were fun. And the ways that they're presented were pretty funny, especially with some of the sayings and things like that. But, oh, man. It was just one of those things where, blah, blah, blah. Not. I do not recommend the new Ghostbusters, personally. It It was one of those things where I felt like the script was
sexist, and he thinks that
no, not at all. Not true. I love all the ladies that were in it, and because of who was cast in it, I was very excited
when they initially announced that movie, and I was like, okay, I like Kristen Wiig. I can see Melissa McCarthy if she's like Gilmore Girls Melissa McCarthy, and like, you know, like more like a person, because she's a little too much of a caricature in a lot of her movies most recently. But I was like, she's good. I know she can be good, and I was like, I can get into this.
Did Paul Feig write Bridesmaids?
I believe he did. Yes.
Okay, and so that was like another reason to be excited as well, was because it was, you know, basically kind of the same, you know, trio that you had coming in with Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, and Paul Feig. You know, people that have already worked together and have made good comedy. And okay, it's just a different setting. It should go on well, but did not.
What was your other movie that you had an opportunity to see that's hopefully better than Ghostbusters? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had low expectations for that and left pretty happy, and I had a good time. I enjoyed it.
That's the way to do it, man. That movie is perfect if you go in expecting it to be really mediocre.
Right. And for me, like when I saw Central Intelligence, I had incredibly low expectations for it, but I saw it because I love The Rock. He's one of the people on my short list where if he asked me out on a date, I would say yes.
I feel like the studio's entire money-making structure when they cast The Rock is they're like, people just love The Rock, and even if they don't want to see the movie, they'll just do it and because they love The Rock.
They'll show up because
for Rampage,
The Rock.
But, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's one of those things where I dug it. I thought it was funny, and I think Jack Black had some great moments in it as well. And I did love some of the really faint callbacks to the Robin Williams Jumanji.
Yeah,
you know, like
the treehouse that had like his name carved.
Yeah, you know, Alan Parrish was here. It's like, that's awesome and so perfect. It's like it's just enough of like a hey, but not like, you know, trying to get too much into it as well.
So you saw two attempts to remake, reboot, whatever franchise, and one was way more successful than the other.
Yes, one was far more entertaining. Exactly, Jones. He built this house. I'm just living in it. It's good, though. I mean, honestly, yeah, between the two, if you're trying to decide between Jumanji and the new Ghostbusters and you're wanting to see a potential series reboot or a continuation in those, I would say go watch Jumanji. You'll probably have a much more fun time.
Yes. And Jumanji was like a sleeper monster at the box office. Like,
yeah, it did deceptively well.
Tons of money. It, like, considering it was like the week before Star Wars it came out or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just like immediate, like after Star Wars had been out for like 2 weeks, it's like Jumanji had like a resurgence or something. I don't know. I remember reading it being on the top of the charts for a while and making way more money than I thought it was going to flop. I was so sure. I was like, there's no way this movie makes sense.
Because it's like, really, you want to put yourself against the Star Wars?
Yeah.
Not wise, but some studio exec was like, trust me, it'll work.
Really confident in our sequel to a 90s movie. Like,
what could go
completely
wrong?
Different cast and concept. Like, all right.
What
worked.
could go wrong?
Kudos to them,
right?
They pulled it
off. But I dug it. I thought it was fun, and we're still working on, you know, doing the road to Infinity War kind of thing. I think all we have left is Guardians 2. Have you guys been doing that? Been kind of watching all those leading up to it, or not so much?
I mean, I already did do it. I did it like before Black Panther came out. Like,
oh, jeez.
Watched like one. But instead, I just burnt through all of them like, immediately. I have no self-control.
It's really easy to. It really is. Like, once you start one, it's like, well, I kind of want to just keep going.
Well, this one's teaser makes me kind of want to watch the next one at the end of the credits. So I guess we're watching Captain America.
Yeah. I did see something on Slash Film, I think, where they interviewed the Russo brothers, and they were talking about the first cut of Avengers 4, which will be the sequel to Infinity War. They filmed them both at the same time, and so, but they don't even have a rough cut yet. But they're not even sure what the time will be, and I think this one's going to be, Infinity War will be 2.5 hours, I think is the runtime. And so this one coming up might be the actual, first 3-hour Marvel movie.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If it's good, I mean.
I know, it's like, please don't suck.
I feel like I get no theater fatigue. If anything, I worry when a movie's short and I'm really enjoying it. I'm like in the theater and the back of my mind is like, oh no, it's going to end soon. Don't end. Are we leading up to the end? I'm really digging this. Like,
right?
So I'm fine with long movies. I'll take it. I don't
Yeah.
care. For superhero, big spectacle films, do it.
There's a lot of speculation that some people might not survive the end of the movie, like certain characters, not some real people, but like some of the heroes may not survive the end of the movie.
I don't think that. I think we're losing Hawkeye, probably.
That seems like such a. That's so mean, though. He's retired, man.
He's retired, but that's why he's not important, like nobody goes.
He's the secret sauce.
Yeah, but that's why, if he dies, it's super sad. We got a super sad moment. I really think I could fully believe losing, or at least having a hard, this could definitely be we never see him again, Iron Man moment.
Really? You think Iron Man over Captain America?
Robert Downey Jr. costs so much more money. I feel like they might be like, can we make this work without him now? So I think it's one of those two. It's Captain America or it's Iron Man. One of those two has got to either die or be done for good. Maybe Cap dies and then Iron Man's like, I'm out of the game, and then we don't see him for however long. I don't know.
I was having a
retirement.
Right. I was having a DM exchange with Dorcius earlier this afternoon, and we kind of talked about, okay, well, maybe Cap will be the one that'll sacrifice himself, because I think in the original Infinity War comic line, he ends up going and confronts Thanos one-on-one, by himself, fully knowing he's most likely gonna die. And I'm wondering, what if he does that and then it ends up putting Tony Stark or Iron Man in a position to where he's now gonna be truly fully selfless and ends up making a really sacrificial play at the end.
I think that's the way to do it, is Iron Man sacrificing himself is the way to go, because that'd be the conclusion of their little argument arc where he talks about being the guy who falls on, who throws himself on the wire.
Yeah, or I'll be the guy that just cuts the wire.
Yeah. I think, because the movie Avengers 1 plays that out anyway, kind of with him sacrificing himself with the nuke. He tries to sacrifice himself, but
he kind of reverts back not too long after.
Exactly. So this could be his final chapter, his final closing moment where he really does become that hero.
Yeah. I could see potentially losing Loki.
Loki? I mean, that could be interesting. But with Loki's the type of character that even if he dies, they can always bring him back, because he's the trickster god. It's really easy to write Loki's death but I was really in this other body the whole time. I feel like they've done that already multiple times. We've seen Loki die, I feel. So
do you think they would sacrifice Thor, or do you think Loki would make a play to give up Thor to preserve himself?
I don't think there's any way they get rid of Thor, because he's just started to really take off on his own,
Yeah, especially with
Thor
Ragnarok
was the first really good Thor movie. So I think if they're gonna get rid of anybody, they'll get rid of the more expensive people, and the people that started it, the pillars, and then they'll kind of leave somebody like Thor around to be the new sort of figurehead for a little bit while they transition into whatever comes after.
Yeah, because in some of the other comics, at least when Marvel did their new run, where they had either gender swaps or different race swaps with their different characters, and just different people being the characters. Sam Wilson became Captain America for a while, and so it's not out of the realm of possibility for. Because Bucky has been Captain America before as well.
Bucky could easily take over the mantle in the MCU. I could see that happening pretty easily.
And then I guess I don't know, because with Thor, Jane Foster essentially became the Lady Thor in that one. I don't know if Natalie Portman wants to be Thor. I don't think that'll work out.
I don't think so. There's there's that alien dude who was Thor or can wield Thor's hammer. I can't remember
Vision
his name.
could.
No, but there's like in the comics there was actually like, oh my god, there's an Easter egg of him in Ragnarok, and I can't remember his name now, and it's really gonna bother me.
Oh, have you ever heard of Throg?
I've not heard of Throg.
It is a frog who actually wields Thor's hammer, and it's an actual Marvel comic. It's ridiculous. I can't even believe it's a real thing. But yeah, I could totally see Chris Evans either biting the dust, or maybe that's the cliffhanger at the end. Maybe we're not sure if, somebody's going to die. Maybe they'll make us wait till the next one. But supposedly he's already done his reshoots for Avengers 4. And so contractually, I think he is, all done. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, because if you get rid of that guy, you still need someone to be the moral compass. But
yeah,
on our Black Panther episode, we kind of talked about how T'Challa could essentially be the new moral compass of the team.
Just make Spider-Man be everything. Just make all the movies only Spider-Man, and that's it. Get rid of everybody else.
And just bring in Deadpool, because now Disney owns those Fox properties now.
Him in as well. Yes.
Oh my gosh! Could you imagine Deadpool just shows up? It's like, "What's up, guys?"
Be so friggin'. I'm not cursing. I don't get to talk to adults ever. Yeah, that would be very, very weird. I don't think Deadpool fits into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, really.
Right. I think with that new trailer and the whole X-Force thing, I think solidifies you will truly be on your own. Like you're going to be your own entity and your own team up thing.
And I kind of like that. I don't mind if like he can reference the events of the other movies, because he's Deadpool anyway, and he knows he's in a movie. So like whatever. But like I don't want to see Deadpool and like if I see Deadpool and Bucky on screen together, I'm just gonna be like, what? Like this is weird. These two characters they don't mesh, they don't fit. And the person was Beta Ray Bill is the name of the character I was trying to
Beta Ray Bill. Nice.
He's like
where was he in Ragnarok?
He's one of the face statues of like the old champions.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
There we go. Whew.
Very cool. I guess another thing that's been kind of picking up some steam, at least with some press. Incredibles 2 looks like it'll be pretty fun. Coming out in a couple, or not a couple weeks, but in a couple months or so, pretty soon.
I have complete confidence in The Incredibles 2.
Do you think it's going to suffer one of those things where, it's too little too late? Maybe it should have come out sooner, or do you think it'll rise to the occasion? Because we've seen, not in Pixar sense, but, like Zoolander 2 is a very, I think, fair example of a movie that came out at with a similar gap from its first movie to second movie.
I think the reason why movies like that suffer a lot of the time is because they become nothing but like, remember this joke from the last one? Or like, here's like an updated version of that same joke. And like the actors are all older and it's like, you're kind of uncomfortable. Like, why isn't anybody aged or changed at all in the decade between movies? But what's great about animation and Pixar is like, they can make it so it takes place like the next day and it doesn't have to miss a beat in any way, like visually that takes me out of it, so as long as I don't think Pixar's the type that would just be like, we need to make a sequel, like let's just do a bunch of throwbacks, callbacks to the old ones, like they wouldn't make the sequel without a good story to tell. So and especially it's Brad Bird is making it right, and he did Iron Giant and the first Incredibles, and like those are really good movies. So I have faith, and I like the story seems to be like Mr. Incredible kind of being like stuck on the sidelines as like a stay-at-home dad type almost.
Like stuck with Jack.
So I already relate to it immediately, and I'm in. I think it's gonna be good. I'd be worried if this was like a live action movie or if it was a pure comedy. Like I was more worried about Super Troopers 2 than I am about Incredibles 2. I still haven't seen Super Troopers 2. I don't know.
I haven't either, and I'm unsure. Because to me, like Super Troopers 2, I think I'm afraid it's gonna suffer the same issues that Zoolander 2 had. It's like there are so many jokes, like, am I saying meow and things like that? Are we gonna have that again? Probably,
yeah.
And then like the soap and large Farva and different stuff happening to Farva at whatever burger place they go to. It's like, yeah, those would be funny, but I kind of want some new jokes too, especially because all those guys are very funny together.
The movies become like too iconic and they get lost in their own like self-referential nature.
Yeah, it's like when you start memeing yourself, it's like that kind of takes the fun away from it.
It does. And hopefully that doesn't happen with Incredibles, and Super Troopers 2 might not be that way. I don't know. I haven't read much about it yet. I'm sure it got terrible reviews, but the first one did too, so I can't really.
Right. It's one of those things like the reviews could be bad, but if it's still funny, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I will say this though. I bet in The Incredibles at some point you hear Frozone yell like, "Where is my super suit?
Where's my super suit?"
You just know that has to happen.
Oh, please.
It's that just seems inevitable.
I just want more of the exchange with him and his wife, or she's just in another room and they're yelling at each other like, "I'm the greatest good you ever gonna have." Oh my gosh, I loved that so much. So much, man.
Good movie. Come on, Pixar, don't mess it up.
Please don't. It's one of those things like I just don't want the Pixar train to ever stop. Kind of, on the Disney, Pixar and, Marvel talk. Did you see that James Cameron talked about how he is ready for Marvel fatigue to set in?
I did see that.
Yeah, and, it's like, really? Aren't you the guy that wants to make 4 more Avatar movies?
Yeah, you're trying to make 4 sequels to Blue Pocahontas people. Like, you're not James Cameron. No offense to James Cameron and James Cameron fans, but James Cameron, you're not an amazing storyteller, Like, you're not out here, you are not out here telling genre-changing things that blow people's minds. You're doing the same thing that Avengers and superhero movies do anyway. You make popcorn flicks. So it's not like if he were somebody who did like really cerebral films, like I'd be like, okay, I get it. He's allowed to be snooty, but it's come on, James Cameron. Come on, buddy.
Right.
You did Titanic, like you're not.
He does have an obscene amount of money though, and
he makes a lot of money. That is true.
And I'd like to hang out on the Titanic all the time at will. That sounds pretty sweet.
That other people are already that other people are making as much money as him.
Yeah, he's like, wait, I haven't worked in a while. This isn't good. No one's gonna want to watch this.
If anything, he should bash Marvel movies and stuff just to keep some spotlight on him, because I feel like it's been like a decade since Avatar. I feel like nobody's gonna care when the next one comes out. I don't know. I don't anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I was interested in it when it first came out. I mean, as part of it being like a 3D tech demo.
Yeah,
but
like everybody was, but it's not like something that's beloved to you. Like when you see a Jurassic World, there's a trailer for Jurassic World, and you hear the Jurassic Park music, you're like, it awakens a feeling inside of you. You know? I don't think Avatar has that moment where it awakens a feeling inside of you when the trailer comes out. Maybe. I'm sure there's a lot of people. I mean, the movie made like $1 bajillion. So
yeah, like even
I don't hear a lot of people opining for it or talking about it anymore.
Yeah, and I think another thing as well, talking about having just like a good association with it. Today, just for some reason, we have music on in the house whenever Logan's awake, and I've started to play certain pieces from movie soundtracks, like from Finding Nemo or The Lion King or, The Hobbit and Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings. And one song came on and it was from Avatar. And I was like, well, this is kind of pretty, but this is from Avatar? But it didn't do like a lightning bolt in your mind. You're like, oh yeah, that's Avatar. There's not really like anything that's super iconic associated with the film.
It's sort of the same way with the Avengers or the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general. Like, the Avengers has a theme. I know that one, but like any of the individual movies,
Cap has a pretty distinct theme.
I can't think of it. I can only think of the Avengers. That's the only one that has ever stuck with me.
Whenever I hear Cap's, I know it's his. It has like, it's mostly like horns and trumpets and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. But like his and the Asgard theme it's one of those where like I can't hum it just because I can't sing. I'm a potato. I can't do it. My wife can. I cannot. But I feel like there's at least more association there. But I feel like, though, with something like Avatar, and also, I mean, it's kind of an unfair comparison, I guess, because there's been so many, there have been 18 Marvel movies versus the one Avatar, and a lot of these characters are having crossovers now, and there's opportunities for those themes to, you know, resurface in other films and kind of get in your psyche. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know if I want another Avatar movie. I had an okay time with the first one, especially in an IMAX experience.
Yeah, in theaters it was like great. I haven't seen it. That was pretty cool. I don't think it would be nearly as good if I watched it on a TV at home. Like, I don't know. I'm morbidly interested in how you make 4 additional films in the universe and have them be interesting. So.
On another planet, they're red people.
Oh my god! It's really horribly like.
Except on this planet, they hold hands to meld.
Like, I want it to be like the red people and the blue people don't like each other. Like, let's just make it as.
And then they have a baby that's purple.
As possible.
Oh my gosh, that'd be ridiculous.
It would be. I could see it happening. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Oh man. Well, this month, guys, we're talking about The Truman Show. So
we've talked about blockbusters.
Yeah, I know we talked about everything else that's been going on and what we've been checking out. So just to give you guys a bit of a refresher, or if you've never seen the movie before, shame on you. You should go see it on Netflix. It's actually a very interesting movie. But I've got the trailer here for you just to kind of get you guys caught back up to speed. And we'll go ahead and give it a look.
Still headed.
What else is on?
Yeah, let's see what else is. Coming to you now from the largest studio ever constructed, it's The Truman Show!
Yeah!
Good morning!
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
What if? No scripts, no cue cards.
Morning, Spencer. How's it going?
What if you were watched every moment of your life?
How many cameras you got there in that town?
5,000.
I believe Truman is the first child to have been legally adopted by a corporation.
That's correct.
Brilliant.
What if everyone you knew was pretending?
Hi, honey. Look what I got at the checkout. Dishwasher safe.
That's amazing.
What if your world was make-believe?
Cue the sun. While the world he inhabits is counterfeit.
I'm not allowed to talk to you.
That's how I look. Not your type. There's nothing fake about Truman himself.
What if you didn't know it? Until now.
A lot of strange things have been happening.
Stand by ring cam.
Is he looking at us?
Does he think he knows? I think I'm mixed up in something. Something big.
We accept the reality with which we're presented.
Everybody's pretending, Truman. Get out of here. Come and find me. Truman? Truman!
Anything happen?
No.
You may find yourself in another part of the world. Feels like the whole world revolves around me. Everybody seems to be in on it.
I'm going away for a while.
You may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. You may ask yourself, how did I get here?
I'm not in on it, Truman, because the last thing that I would ever do is lie to you.
Fade up music. That's our hero shot. He's gone.
Okay? Yes!
Want to do it again?
No!
Find him. Truman, where are you going?
You can do it.
How do we stop him?
Give me some lightning.
Is that the best you can do?
Cut transmission!
I like your pen. I was wondering that myself.
Jim Carrey. The Truman Show. Watch what happens.
Well, that's the trailer from The Truman Show. I personally think it's a very, very fun movie. If you've never seen it before, you need to do yourself a favor.
A wonderful movie.
Yeah, you need to do yourself a favor and go check it out. The summary of this gem. Where is it? There it is. Cool. In this movie, Truman is a man whose life is a fake. The place he lives in fact, is a big studio with hidden cameras everywhere, and all his friends and people around him are actors who play their roles in the most popular TV series in the world, The Truman Show. Truman thinks he's an ordinary man with an ordinary life and has no idea about how he is exploited until one day he finds out everything. I personally really did like this movie quite a bit. I remember seeing it when it first came out when I was really young. I remember seeing this movie in theaters. It came out in 1998, so I was 10 years old. I was 10 years old when this movie came out. So it's dating myself a little bit. But I liked it. It stars Jim Carrey, Laura Linney, Noah Emmerich, and directed by Peter Weir, written by Andrew Nichol. And it is a very, very, very unique movie. It's very, very unique. And I think it's interesting how far ahead this movie was before it came out. You know, just how much they kind of predicted in a way in terms of what people were going to want to fill their lives with.
What type of media people would want to consume.
Right. It's so weird. Like, especially like today, I mean, hell, using Twitch as an example, you know, where we, you know, record and, you know, put the show out, you know, both of us are Twitch broadcasters, and, you know, people can come watch us and, you know, get to kind of spend as much time with us as they want. But there are other people too that are on far many more hours than we are.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, there's people like, you know, Dr. Disrespect and, you know, Ninja, you know, kind of the current, you know, unofficial face of Twitch. You know, somebody who a lot of people spend hours and hours and hours watching this guy. And much like the Truman Show, you know, we're not seeing someone being raised from birth on Twitch, although that would be very funky. And I don't know, that might be illegal.
That's
I'm not
my
sure.
plan with my daughter, actually.
Oh, really? You're going to turn it into the Truman Show, the mini mega show? The cat's out of the bag, guys. Invest now. But yeah, like, I like the way the show kind of presents itself in the beginning. You know, it's just kind of, you know, people flipping channels, and then you're kind of keyed right in. And in a way, you're a viewer of the show at the start. And then you have you have that big light in the ceiling that crashes on the ground. And in a way, the way it's kind of presented, you're given kind of like a taste of what's going on early. But at the same time, you're almost as much in the dark as Truman. And as this show kind of progresses, when things start to kind of get peeled back, you start to get to learn with them as well, which I think was one of a very good structure for the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not totally omniscient. You don't know everything, but at the same time, like, you do know just a little bit more than he does, but you're not too far ahead in what he knows.
No.
I think that was a masterful choice. What'd you think?
You talked about this, like, you liked this movie when you were young. I did too. I think this was like the first VHS tape that I remember, like, really burning through a lot. Me and my stepbrother used to watch this movie all the time together. Yeah. Like, I don't know, I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies, just like, period. I don't know what it is about it, but it is interesting, its relevance to today. And I feel like we live in a world where somebody would honestly, like, sign up to do the Truman Show. I mean, people do. Like, Big Brother.
Reality TV. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Name
Big
any
Brother
reality show.
Literally has like 24/7 feeds in the house that people can watch, like, streaming. Like,
exactly.
That's the thing. But I don't know. It's interesting how relevant it is, but Jim Carrey's performance in the movie is, like, perfect.
I think it's one of his best performances, to be honest. Because it's still.
I would absolutely agree.
Yeah, because it's still funny Jim Carrey, but also. Yes. You get, like, some Man on the Moon and Cable Guy kind of moments too, where there's like there's harder moments with him, but he still gets to be himself, I guess.
Yes.
And yes. I think it's a great use of him as an actor. You kind of got to see his full scope in the movie. And one thing that I thought I was talking to my wife about this too, the setting that they chose to put this in. You know, the movie is taking place like in present day 98, 99. You know, like in modern times when the movie was released. But the setting of the town and the story...
Truman's world is very, like...
You know, 50s, 60s...
50s vibes, yeah.
Yeah,
like, it's a perfect, I don't know, cartoon version of how people remember things, you know? Like,
right.
The good old days is what it feels
the golden age of America.
It's
like,
very Pleasantville.
Yeah, very Pleasantville. That's a great comparison.
It actually reminds me a lot, weirdly enough. When I watch The Truman Show, I think of The Matrix because of the fact that the architect in Matrix Reloaded.
When's the bullet dodging happen?
Yeah. Okay. When Neo's talking to the architect in Matrix Reloaded, he talks about the different iterations of the Matrix, and he talks about how initially they made a perfect utopia, and like 90% of people rejected it. And Truman gets like a perfect utopia. Yeah. And he knows something's wrong. He rejects it, and I always think about that. Connection. Like, there's no like conflict for Truman, which also. Well, there is, but it's like all weird manufactured stuff that's just meant to make him stay on his little island and not ask questions.
But I think also too, I think this kind of comes into like a big talk about free will and, you know, the will of the human spirit. You know, the somebody that has an idea or a desire to do something, if they really want to do it, I defy you to put you. I mean, in short of you know breaking their legs or making it incapable for them to achieve their goal, they're going to do everything they possibly can to achieve it because their heart wants to. And I think being in a utopian world and all that stuff and having the perfect wife set up for him with the TV show and the directors and all that stuff, he still wanted to take the time to go find his dream girl from college. And that's all he ever wanted to do. And he found out she's in Fiji. Okay, how am I going to get to Fiji? Where is it from here? And that's all he wanted to do. And yeah, he's like, it's here and it's over here.
Can't get any further away till you start coming back.
Right. I loved that line too. It's so good. So good. It almost made me want to think like, where's that for me? Right? I just want to know. It might be the ocean. I don't know.
Probably.
There might be nowhere. But I found that to be such an interesting thing. And especially at the end of the film as well, when he's having the conversation with the director, who's talking to him almost like, like a deity talking down to him, saying like, I've built this perfect world, the same lies and issues you're having in here are the exact same out there, but inside this, this world, you're going to be safe.
You're always safe. You're going to be safe. Outcome. Yeah.
But at the same time, he was like, I want to see, I want to go. And also too, just, I know I'm kind of ping ponging around a little bit. The ending of the film with him as well, the bow and, just the way that he does his like, good afternoon. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening and night.
Good night.
Yeah. And just like the end of that, it's like, that is the perfect end, I think, to any TV show. The character assimilates to the normal world. It's done. And
okay, we were talking about the movie like a few days ago, maybe like a week ago. I knew I was gonna be on the podcast with it, so I brought up that this was gonna be the movie.
Yeah.
And somebody in chat said like, how do you feel about the end of the movie? Because don't you wish you could have seen Truman assimilate into the real world more? And I was like, I think the whole point of the movie is that we don't deserve to get to see Truman assimilate into the real world.
Yeah, we've seen everything
I want to see it, but that makes me the audience on the couch at home wanting to see it. Like, that's the beauty of how it ends, is that we only see Truman's life when he is in the Truman Show, because we are the audience in the movie.
Right.
As well, and it's weird.
Yeah, we're happy that he's made it, just like the guy in the bathtub that's like splashing the water everywhere. He's so excited for him.
Yes.
And everybody that's watching, they honestly are so excited for him that one, he overcame his fear and he made it and he set out to complete something and he did it. And they're just so excited for him because they genuinely love him. They've grown to love him as a person. And they just couldn't be happier for him that he's getting to do his thing. And so in a way too, I think most of the audience too is just gonna just be excited that he gets to live a life now. It's like almost watching your kid grow up. But I think his character lived till, I think Truman was 30.
Yeah,
or something like that when
he left.
In
his 30s. Like, there are people who've been watching him for 30 years on that show. Like,
right.
That's just...
When I was looking at the director, it's like, how old were you when you started this show? Were you like some crazy tycoon that's like, I've got a lot of money, I'm adopted a baby?
That's what it seems like. Yeah, like Christoph Ed Harris has been like.
Yeah.
Just I imagine just some wild, crazy art student who then eventually went even more insane with money. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a really messed up concept to try to...
It is, like a corporation adopts a baby for television?
The movie loses a little bit of plausibility because who's going to build that massive studio on spec? Like, maybe they didn't build it until he was, like, a certain age, like the show had picked up.
Yeah, maybe they just built it bigger and bigger as money came in.
But who the hell was watching that show when he was just a baby? Like, what is the show then? Like, I don't know.
Right. Because, they talk about, their first episodes where, it was one camera. They started with one camera, and it was, with baby Truman inside the womb. And then, the show expanded out to 5,000 cameras, around the whole city and the ocean and whatever. It's such a crazy...
One thing I've always...
set.
Now I'm just going to ping pong around, too, because
I'm
thinking about things from the movie. One thing I've always wondered is he's in the mirrr talking to himself. Like, that's like part of his morning ritual.
I love those scenes.
Do you think then, like, if you think about it, they probably conditioned him as a kid to do that? Because people don't draw on their mirrors and talk to themselves and stuff. Like, they want him to be interesting television. So I wonder if when Truman was a kid, they like did things to encourage him to be verbal with his imagination and stuff. So he would be more captivating and entertaining to watch. And that's messed up to me to imagine in the movie world. Like, all of Truman's behaviors
have been conditioned or influenced.
We, as the audience in the movie, like him for, are things that they probably did their best to instill in him when he was growing up, so that he could be more entertaining for the television show within the world.
I could see the soap drawing on the mirror. I could see that maybe something he did with his dad.
Yeah,
that could be something that he did with him as a kid. Like, look, he could be a spaceman, or we can make you a boat captain or whatever. Because when he saw it, I also thought, like, wow, he can draw really well. Like when he drew the little flag on the moon, it's
that's
really
like
like the little wave that he puts into it. It's like that's better than
now
I would
you
have done with
understand
a
why
bar
Jim
of soap.
Carrey's like a crazy artist.
Yeah, real truth. He's actually a fantastic artist.
He really is. His paintings are really cool.
Have you seen Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
I have. I have seen
his episode is awesome because you get to see his studio, and he's so good. And if you haven't seen it, if you're listening to this later, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee is on Netflix right now, and I think Jim Carrey's the very first episode. I think he's one of the very first ones, but it's fun. They're very good, like bite-sized, like 15, 20-minute bits with Jerry Seinfeld getting coffee with different actors and comedians. But anyway, yeah, I think it is interesting because a lot of his mannerisms, were pre-orchestrated, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. You can't deny that they weren't.
Nobody says good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Like, nobody has catchphrases built into themselves naturally.
Right. Oh my gosh. And
made him do that somehow.
Yeah. And I guess the commentary on consumerism as well. Within the movie, like all the ad reads,
the product placement.
Oh, and they're so like in your face.
I've had other
about
cocoa
it
before. This is the best.
Yeah, or like, that's a good beer. It's like, all right.
My favorite quote from that movie, I quote all the time, is when he does the hell are you talking about? Who you talking to?
Like, when she's like when she's talking about it, like, it's the best.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Because
they're having like a fight.
Why are you talking like this? Who talks like this? You're not being a person. Like,
or like even in the trailer when he's in the garden and he's got his sticking out his butt as he's doing planting flowers or whatever. He's like, I got this kitchen appliance. It slices, dices, and it's a grater, and it's all in one. He's like, oh. Great. He's like, that's odd. My wife's a psychopath.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I have so many in-world questions about the Truman Show that are now just popping in my head too. Like,
yeah, go for it.
His wife sleeps with him, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, she's paid actress who sleeps. Do they show that level on screen ever?
No, because the security guards. Yeah, the security guards say, they never show anything. They always pan and tilt away, or the wind blows. Because I think
at least they respected that. But there has to be accidental nudity caught on screen at some point.
Oh, within the show, I'm sure. I'm sure. But like, I think Polar might have said. I think the plan for the show was, I think, to have Truman and Meryl, yeah, which is an odd name for a lady.
It fits her like the 50s vibe. Though,
it does. That is the name of the time.
We're saying Meryl's an odd name, like Truman's a totally normal name that you come across.
Yeah, like, Truman Burbank. It's like, oh, that's such a Hollywood name.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Even his name, I mean, even his name fits with the theme of the movie. What is a true man? God, they thought about it.
Oh, so good.
Bastards. Yeah.
One thing that I thought was kind of fun too is the way, having people crash the show within Truman. Like how when they're interviewing Christoph, how they had like, you've had some close calls before. And like the guy that hid inside the Christmas present when he was little. Yeah.
Truman, it's all TV show, Truman.
Yeah. Or the guy that parachutes in. It's like, I'm on TV. It's kind of like like with streaking, like in other live events or people running on baseball fields and stuff like that. It's so funny that I'm surprised we haven't seen more stuff like that happen in modern reality TV shows. People like finding out where, with Real World and Road Rules, people finding the house and like trying to get on the show, like, or maybe they did and they just cut it out because it was never live. But
it almost seems like that would be a story they would almost, well, then they would incentivize it, so maybe not. But I could see some reality show doing the storyline where like a crazed stalker shows up,
Right. And then just the way too, like when things start to kind of fall apart, when the dad shows up. And he just somehow just got his way in. But when you see him, it's like, this guy sticks out like a sore thumb. He's really dirty. And there are no homeless people in this town. Everyone is prim, clean, proper, and, going to work, doing their grind or whatever. And this guy seriously looks like he rolled in dirt and has gnarly teeth.
I kind of wish they would have recast the dad. I kind of wish that would have been like a plot point. Like,
I was wondering when...
Seen him
it had been so long since I'd seen it when they had him walking through the fog.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder that maybe would have sped up the ending a little bit, or maybe caused him to go, what the hell? But like having him be recast.
Yeah, like just find a really similar looking actor because he's like aged like
dad. It's like, that's not my
15,
dad.
20 years, yeah.
Or it looks like him but sounds different. It's like, that's not my dad. Yeah. You're not my real dad.
You're not my dad. Oh my goodness. That movie,
it's got so many things right. Oh, and when they when he's on the boat, when they finally when he disappears and finds the way to, break line of sight with the camera, and he's on the water and they're like, quick, we got to get another boat out there. And the bus driver is trying to drive the ferry. He's like, I don't know how to do this. I only do the bus.
And they're like, have any reason to do it because nobody takes the ferry anywhere.
Right. And like the floor director's down there on the floor and he's like, they don't know how, theyey're actors. They don't know how to drive a
really weird thing. I was on Reddit today and I actually saw like a Truman Show post when I got on Reddit this morning. And I was like, that's oddly. And it's when he goes to the travel agency, two things about it. One, when she comes in, she still has her hair and makeup bib on.
I totally missed that. Yeah. Oh, because he basically says he's leaving today. They couldn't catch up.
I'm gonna leave. They probably never even needed a travel agent actress. So like she comes in and it looks like it's just enough that you could think, oh, maybe she was eating lunch. But like it's a hair and makeup bib is what it is.
What a good catch.
And then all of the like brochures and posters for traveling are like all cruise ships. They're all water-based. Like everything there to deter him from
you have like the one plane that's like, there are terrorists, it'll crash. And it's like, oh my gosh. Like they're totally trying to make not flying an option. And he like, I think he sees him and makes a face like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that in here? It's so strange.
That aspect of Truman where he questions his reality is that a little unbelievable to you if it's the only reality you've ever known? Like if his whole life travel agencies are like, don't travel, would that become his norm, or would you still question it?
If I was in his circumstance, I mean, up until that point, enough things have happened to start getting you to question things. The light has fallen. Mm-hmm. I think at that point, people acted funny with different traffic jams. He had seen his dad at that point and seen random people push him on the bus. And then he finds out he can literally stop traffic. He smacks the guy that's working on a light bulb outside in the butt with his bag. And he literally just doesn't move. He just keeps doing what he's doing.
Yeah. That's terrible directing. Christoph is doing a horrible job. If you're trying to sell it, have people react the way that they would, or yell at him or something. Like,
yeah, but it could have been the actor thinking like, what do
if I hit Truman, I hit Truman right now, I'm fired.
Yeah, I'll never work again, period, because I'll be known as the extra that hit Truman.
Yeah.
Or especially the people in the cars who are like, I don't want to hit him.
Yeah.
I can't hit him.
But like, just speaking of bad directing, one thing that bothers me is they see Truman watching in his rearview mirror, and they keep the same cycle of things going behind him at the one point. Yeah, like why he's talking about the dented beetle. Why do you still send the dented beetle? Like, why do you still send it through?
It could have been one of those things where maybe it would have been just too many people to communicate to get the beetle to stop.
Probably hard to control that, but they do a lot of pretty incredible things control wise.
I think would have been really funny is you still have the first two, like the bicycle, the guy walking his dog or whatever, and then instead of a yellow beetle, it's still a beetle, but it goes the other direction and it's a different color.
Yeah,
or something like that. Like he almost
Truman,
gets it.
Even have Truman like getting out of the car and see the beetle like speeding off in the other direction or something. Like it was down. And thing, like,
or he sees it like coming down the street and it just pulls into like somebody's driveway real quick and like hits a mailbox or something. that honestly, maybe that would have been a much better choice, where you could see them trying to correct the issue. Like, oh crap!
Yes. Oh, looks like we have fixed the Truman Show. You're welcome.
One thing that I thought was weird too is like the classical radio station. He almost has a straight up conversation with the DJ when he's listening to him.
Yeah, that's like a little too obvious, like that.
Yeah, but he's like cool with it, and he's just like, yeah, go have a good day, thanks.
That's the norm in his life, right? So
I guess so. I guess he's so used to that DJ for classical music every day.
Life fits perfectly for him, which is eventually what makes him question everything, I guess.
Right.
I'm thinking more about the movie, and speaking of its like 50s vibe, I love the idea that his best friend like stocks vending machines.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny.
It's just in this small town, he's making enough to live just stocking the like 2 vending machines that exist there.
But
like,
was that done intentionally to because like when
sure, to sell candy in like,
well, yeah, to sell candy, but I'm also thinking like to, when Truman and him are hitting golf balls down that unfinished highway. Or that, I guess it's going to be a bridge or something. I'm not sure. But he is like, Truman, you've got a desk job. I'd kill for a desk job.
Yeah.
Was that a way to tug him back?
It's to give him that, like, well, things could be worse. I have a great life in comparison.
Yeah, I sell insurance on an island. Life's great. What an odd job to give to him, too.
Very odd job indeed.
Giving him insurance. Very strange.
What a boring job for I think that's weird that you think they would give him something more exciting, but anything more exciting and he would probably
maybe feel more encouraged to leave.
Yeah, seek excitement. They want him to be complacent and docile. So they basically made The Office. They made they just made that show.
Neutered his excitement for anything. And just hoped he would stay that way. It's like, he's not going to want to go anywhere. False. He wants to go all over the place.
He does. What an interesting movie and its effect on people when it came out, too. Like, everybody who's seen The Truman Show after it came out has that moment where they're like, am I in The Truman Show?
Yeah, it's almost like, kind of like with, am I being punked or something, or am I in the Matrix? Is this real? Am I being watched all the time by somebody for someone's amusement? Maybe. You don't know.
It's weird that it'd be really weird. Anybody who's watching right now, right? If you're listening to this or watching this, I don't think you're on a Truman Show, because I don't think anybody wants to watch somebody listen to a podcast about this movie. Like,
so there might be somebody that enjoys watching somebody listen to something else.
We could be part of the plant, though.
We could be sponsored by these wonderful ramen noodles.
It's like the in The Faculty. They theorize that they make all the alien movies to make you believe that there never could really be aliens.
Yeah.
That's what Elijah Wood says. So the Truman Show was made in this world.
So that you'll never question it.
Is a Truman Show. So you would think, oh, it can't possibly be real. They wouldn't have made a movie about it if it was a thing.
That's very conspiracy theorist of you.
We're going deep layers. Am I all right? Lots of deep layers. We could slice, dice, and shred through these layers.
Yeah, it makes julienne fries. One thing that I thought was also cool too was the level of control. You know, the weather system, and just like, you know, like when it has the mishap on the beach, where only just a funnel of rain comes down.
Part.
I love it.
And
He psychs it out.
So cartoony. Just move it with him. That'll convince him that there's nothing going on.
Yeah, I loved that. And then all of a sudden it all comes down, and he's like, "Oh wait." But then also like on this. Oh, go ahead.
I almost feel like the entirety of the Truman Show's plot is kickstarted by somebody who wasn't willing to approve a budget to make some like fixes to the dome. Like lights are falling off, radios are screwing up, the rain's not working right. It's like they needed to do some maintenance on the systems, and some corporate guy was like, no, it's fine. We can go another couple years.
He never goes up the second elevator, so this can just be a way to craft services for the extras. Exactly. Nobody's gonna go up this elevator. And he's like, wait, what's going on back here? I loved that. And you see people just sitting there, and they're like, oh crap. I like it how the one extra just holds still, like, I'm just going to pretend I'm on the elevator. Maybe he'll buy it. It's so good.
It's really good. Man, do you feel bad at all for any of the actors?
In real life
like
or in the
Meryl?
show?
Like Meryl within the Truman Show. Like,
I would
she
think
has to pretend to love someone that she doesn't, but she probably maybe did at some point because he was like famous, you know, like she agreed to sign up to do this, but also she knows that he is in love with somebody else and is lying. Like, she's lying to him, but she also knows that he's lying to her all the time.
But he's trying to pretend that he loves her, and maybe he
they're
kind of
both,
still
like,
likes her, but he loves somebody else more.
At the same time. Like, it's weird.
That could explain a lot of the tension they have too. Is maybe she's resentful because she's like, well, I'm the one that's pretending, not you.
Yeah, like, I'm supposed to be the beloved wife in this famous story of ours.
Well, even at the bar that has the Truman Show on all the time, that where the two girls are watching all the time and not working at all. I think they talk about, one of the girls was like, oh man, I can't believe he rebounded and married Meryl. You know, like she, I don't think is generally liked as a character.
So she's probably resentful that she did not get to come on and be like
the character,
accepted with the wide open arms in the world of the Truman Show.
I would think most actors would see like a role like that as like a very ambitious role and maybe an attractive role, because it's really going to test how long can you hold character.
Yes.
Like, how method can you be? Because I think, like, even when they're interviewing her, like, she's talking about how, you know, it's my life, it's a lifestyle. It's not that she's acting, it's her living out her life in a way too.
It's weird.
It is weird. Yeah.
It's such a weird world to like try to implant yourself into and think about anybody's choices. Like, Truman, I can get. The audience watching, I can kind of get. Any actors or the production, it's so weird to imagine what's going on like in their heads when they do anything. Like,
yeah, I kind of wish we got to see more of those like candid interviews with the actors being themselves, like not being in character within that island. You know, kind of having more of that maybe cut in or spliced in or something. But that also maybe would have broke the vibe too, because in a way, you know, once you get that kind of keys you in as to what's going on, and then it kicks off, you know, Truman leaving his front door to go to work. And then now we're in all the different button cams and the different cams all over the place, and you're just kind of along for the ride at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I would like to see more of it, but I agree, probably better like without it. You know, it's a stronger film without more of it in there, probably.
Right.
I think it's interesting in world, speaking of production, that they do flashbacks to the girl, the story, like
yeah, like when he's reminiscing and makes the little like magazine cutout face.
Yeah, it's like, I guess they probably are just leaning into like the skid, I suppose, because they know like audience at home is gonna be like, why is he just staring at this picture of this girl? But like, you would think they would want to bury her, you know, as much as they could.
I think partly it's one of those things where the material was given to them, so why not shut it down? But I also think it could be a way to fill out maybe not as pretty things to look at, or not as, you know, sitting with him there just staring and just sighing. You know, it's kind of like what they did too with Truman on the beach, and he's sitting there just staring at the water, and they show the footage of him when he was young with his dad on the boat. You know, it's kind of, you know, taking some source material from previous episodes or previous days that they've had the show to kind of fill that space and make it more like a TV show. To kind of feel like, okay, we can either stare at him for the next half hour or 45 minutes because he's probably going to be here for a while, or we could show this, and then whenever he leaves, we can come back, or if it seems like he's about to go somewhere, or we just wait until he's in a different place.
Yeah. So then, one question I have for you then is, what do you think Truman's life is once he leaves the Truman Show?
Oh man, well, I'd love to think that he meets up with the girl. You know, she comes running out the door. I'm sure they get together. But
let's hope for that. But like,
I'd like to think.
How does
I don't
he
know.
live a day-to-day life being the most famous person on the planet, knowing he has to know that the entire world was basically complacent and took an active role in his own captivity?
Yeah. I honestly, you know, this might be romanticizing it a little bit. I'd like to think they go to Fiji together and just live on the island and just enjoy.
That's, I think, the ideal situation is they go to a secluded place.
And it's just them.
They just live together.
Yeah.
Because he can't live amongst people and have a normal life.
And the studio probably is going to give them a lot of money to not have a lawsuit.
How is there not lawsuits to begin with? I don't even. They tried to kill him like live on TV, like a bunch of people.
I liked the director's response. I was like, he was born on TV.
Yeah.
We could kill him.
It's weird because Christoph does seem to really care about Truman, but
he loves him like a father.
He does, but it's like he cares more about his own creation of the Truman Show.
Yeah.
And its purity almost more, until he realizes, I guess, that killing him is destroying the purity if he controls it too much.
Yeah, it's like he loves Truman as much as he loves like an artist would love a piece of art. You know, there's a sense of, you know, I don't know, you connect with it and you identify with it, but at the same time, you don't want it to change. You want it to stay as you intended. And you don't want it to, I don't know, become something that wasn't of your design. And so I think that was his struggle at the end, is that he's having to accept, and, you know, we're going to have to accept this as parents at some point. Eventually, our kids are going to become themselves. And whether we like it or not, we have to accept that too. So in a way, he had a going to college style moment with Truman, but, you know, maybe 12 years later than most parents typically do.
That's very true. Oh, yeah. Goodness. Because you see the affection, because he pets Truman when he's sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a kid. Like, I would be watching a baby monitor or looking at a picture of my kid. Like, you know, I look at it fondly, not in a creepy sense. It's like, you know, I love my kid, and I think he looks precious when he sleeps. You know, very much like, what Christoph does when he watches Truman. He sees his kid. Or someone that he sees, a family member, or someone that he cares for. And another thing too that I thought was interesting too is when he's eating breakfast or having a late night snack, they have the picture-in-picture with him, but they have like a Chris Hardwick style Talking Truman or the True Talk thing where they break down what's going on. It's like, that was so ahead.
That is like spot on. Yeah, that's something I don't remember being around really until like years after the Truman Show.
Did that stuff exist in the 90s? Did we have shows about the show?
We may have been too young or something, but like, they're really popular now.
Shows about the show. Like, heck, even the new season of Stranger Things, they made their own produced live, with air quotes, round table with all the actors. So everybody's doing it, but I thought that was really funny. But also too, like, they still leave the normal show going on. You know, so it's like, hey, the show is never cut; it's always going.
Yes,
and
always live.
Always live. But I enjoyed it.
Jen brings up a good point. She says when she thinks about the after effects of Truman, it's like similar to Harry Potter and his fame. I guess in the sense that they're famous to everybody and they don't view them like they're just suddenly famous to every single person on the planet.
They're humble, or maybe they'll have moments. I don't know. I like to think
Truman's is a little darker though than Harry's way.
I don't know. I mean, having your parents murdered and
well, I should say the cause of their fame, like people's intentions behind it. People are praising Harry because he's responsible for getting rid of a great evil. Everybody is obsessed with Truman, and he was a prisoner, like against his own will. He just didn't know it.
Was he against his own will? Well, I mean, yeah, eventually he was.
I think it was against his own will. He almost.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't disagree. But yeah, I don't know. I still, if I had to, I don't know, with Truman, I would like to think it's a storybook positive ending. I choose to believe that. For a storybook life as well. Truman's entire existence was designed to be someone else's storybook. Yeah. So I would like to hope that he gets his own storybook in the end. Right. I mean, he's been through so much, and he's been he's lived a life, but he's decades out of time compared to where everything else is. So I mean, one would hope he just gets to just not have everybody over his shoulder anymore. And
like he's gonna have stalkers out the wazoo.
Oh, totally, absolutely. Especially knowing that he is out in the world, which makes me think even more why the girl that he'll end up being with, I think she's gonna do everything she can to help him see everything that he was denied or live the life that he was denied, but also try to give him as much privacy as possible while still giving him a chance to experience life as much as he can. I think she's almost gonna be she's going to be the new Kristoff, but maybe a little bit more loving and a little bit less restrictive.
Shaping his world in the way that she thinks it should have been the whole time.
Kristoff Part 2. This time, the dome is Earth.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, man. The music in this movie, I thought was very... Yeah.
It sticks with you.
It does. And even like the more thematic stuff, the more cinematic for us, I think not so much for him, was also very good. You know, it goes from, that very upbeat to the very, scary moments too. Like when it felt very, I loved how they brought that in. Like, when they're directing the different shots, you get to watch Kristoff call the show. This is coming from somebody who's been a technical director and a director and who's had to call shows to get people to punch stuff. It was a little bit over the top in how like demonstrative he was with his hands, but at the same time, I thought it was so cool for him to call the shots, get his sequence of shots going, and then he calls to the music and has them fade in, and they're live doing the score
so funny
right there. I loved that though, and it's like they're writing the music on the spot. And as bizarre and as, voyeuristic as the show is, and he is a prisoner, but at the same time, it's like, this would be a hell of an achievement. Even reality show, like to be able to have somebody call it and manipulate everything and then get music to be done on cue and to fit the moment. I mean,
Cap's just impressed, really.
I am impressed. I'm impressed by it. Yeah, it's like I couldn't do it. That's next level. That's like doing the Super Bowl on top of the World Cup. Yeah, with doing like the live musicals that have been going on NBC for a while, all at once. Like that would just be bananas. On the fly. And like never getting a break ever.
No.
It's just, oh my gosh.
There's got to be a lot of assistant directors working.
Right. Well, I think the time that happens, like the Paul Giamatti character, I think he's the AD and the first
like
TD.
In command, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah, so when Kristoff goes to take a nap, he's directing. Because I remember he's calling out the shots when Truman's sleeping, when they find out he's missing. And he's like, he's training the new guy, like, and wide, close.
I know. He's so bored.
He's so bored. And then Kristoff comes out and is like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm just teaching the new guy. And he like looks at him like, no, that's not okay. You get back on your post. And but anyway, I thought that part of it was... for me, just because I've worked that other side, and the way they did it wasn't too over the top. And to me, it was cool to see the control room, all the different positions and all the different producers in the room and the money people coming in like, oh, this is so great. And I loved the one thing too, when he goes missing and they cut to the graphic and they're giving him crap like, what is this? He's like, these are the best ratings we've ever had. And it's a graphic. Our ratings have never been better.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I mean, it's such a, the show has so much, this movie has so much going on, and I think it'll be one of those movies where I think it's going to stand time for a while, because especially with how things have been going with mainstream media, you know, with influencers and, you know, the ability to see so much live through simpler means, that this movie was talking about this and had even an idea of it decades, almost 2 decades ahead of its time, almost to the point where we're at now, where it's almost mainstream everywhere. I mean, live video content, I think, isn't fully as prevalent as I think it's going to be maybe in the next 10 years. Yeah. I think in 5 to 10 years, I mean, there's going to be so much live. I mean, we're seeing it today, you know, with even in the gaming space, you know, I mean, our world is very small, you know, with Twitch and gaming, but with Facebook doing what they're doing, and, you know, Microsoft wanting to do stuff with Mixer. I mean, big tech companies. I mean, and Amazon paid a pretty penny to acquire Twitch.
Yeah.
There's definitely a shift in content consumption, and we're seeing it too with the cable getting cut. And so it's so cool to see a movie that really called it in an alternative idea that really wasn't very far off.
Yeah. It definitely is ahead of its time, almost, in a way that makes it will basically be timeless. I feel like
yeah,
all of the themes, like the technology will look dated and everything, but all the themes it presents are very much like very poignant now.
Right.
The way advertising's worked in, the way people want to consume other people's lives, just the, I don't know, everything about it.
I think too, maybe the reason why they were sending it or setting it in like a 50s, 60s time, that maybe extends the rewatchability, or seeing it later in time for the first time.
Yes,
because you're able to, the main content that you're going to view is Truman in Truman's world. You don't see the control room or the outside world that much. I mean, the only time I think you'll maybe feel dated is when you're in the bar and you see their TV, or like you see, or the stuff at the control room. That's really it. Everything within the, you know, Truman's world makes sense until we eventually get hidden cameras that aren't super fisheye or have like stuff like vignetting on the lenses or something like that. But even then, when they show you like in one of the interviews with Christoph, or like one of the montages with the studio being built, and they show you like the size of the camera is like the size of an eraser head, or like the tip of a pencil. It's like, there will probably be some vignetting because there might be clothing around it, or it's inside a button.
Yes.
And so it makes it to where like everything that's happening there, I feel like it's a movie that's going to be definitely viewable and rewatchable for quite some time.
Because of how, the world within the Truman Show is set in sort of a vague timelessness that won't make you, when you're watching it, be like, oh, look at those gross like 90s clothes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, or like nothing about it has any foundation in real media that exists.
Yeah, you're not going to have that like jarring moment like, wait, whoop? Yeah. I don't know if that was an intention, and I hope it was, because if so, that's quite clever to make it to where nobody's really going to question much. They're going to kind of just, you know, be able to, you know, get into the groove of the movie without having to think too much about it.
Unlike a certain other film franchise that we both love, where it's choosing of time to set itself, especially in the sequel, kind of.
I mean, 2015 maybe isn't too far from today. I don't know.
You're right. I
still
can't wait to see Jaws 13.
Oh my gosh! I mean, at the same time, though, man, I am looking forward to the Back to the Future movies coming back to Netflix, because they cycle through. It might be in the summer, but if they do, I want to talk Back to the Future 2 so much, because it's one of those where, oh my gosh, without getting too much into it, it's so crazy how much they got real close. I guess as we kind of wind down here, any final thoughts you have on the Truman Show?
Go watch it.
Please do. Honestly, yeah. If you guys haven't seen it, as of today, as of this recording, it's still on Netflix. Do yourself a favor, go see it. I would consider it a must-see movie. I think people need to see it. I mean, you won't.
And if it's off Netflix, hit me up. I'll lend you our VHS. All right, it's fine.
Mega will mail you the VHS copy. You still have the VHS copy?
I'm pretty sure. Well, my stepbrother lives down the road from us. I think he still has it. So
That is
I'll grab it from
awesome.
him.
That is so cool. You have to go find a VHS player though.
I'm gonna watch it on the same type of TV.
That's
that
such
they
a
watch it
hipster
in the
thing to
bar.
do. Just watch it on a 4x3 square.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Watch
way
the
it
bad
was
tracking.
meant to be seen. Come on. Guys.
VHS is such a pure form. No, it's not. VHS is probably one of the worst mediums ever.
It is. It's horrible.
It's such garbage. Such garbage. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those where it's a great movie. It's worth your time. And you guys should do yourself a favor, go see it. Especially with, like what we were talking about, in light of everything that's going on. It's almost bizarre. It's almost Twilight Zone-esque in a way, too.
Yeah. Outside of just its incredible relevancy to today's world, it is very funny and heartwarming.
Yes.
And just a well-made movie. Even
Heck,
if it didn't basically predict the future.
Right. I mean, even if you're just a fan of Jim Carrey, that should be more than enough to get you in there. I mean, it's a good range of, Jim Carrey, from being dramatic down to just being his, wacky Ace Ventura Dumb and Dumber self with some of his little moments. It's
you get a
see
nice
it
in between the Majestic and Ace Ventura.
Yes.
Smash those together and you get the Truman Show.
Absolutely. So that's going to conclude our 9th episode of the Hill Valley AV Club. We've done 9. We're almost up to 10. Not quite sure what our next film will be. I'm going to look at what's coming and going to Netflix for May. And we'll make an announcement on Twitter and also in our community Discord, too. You can find the links in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at Captain McFly TV. And also, if you want to catch this show live, too, you can follow me at Captain McFly, CaptainMcFly. We record it live here and then push it out to all the iTunes services, and all podcast services. So iTunes, Google Play, and a couple other ones as well. I think we're looking at pushing out to Podbean pretty soon too. Yeah, woo. So if you would like to find Mega and see his beautiful bearded, newly dadded self,
Very tired self,
but he is a wonderful, awesome dude that is worthy of your time. Where can we find you, dude?
You can go to twitch.tv/MegaMagwitch, where I'll probably, if it's a normal day of the week, be playing something like Fortnite or some other popular shooter. But if it's a Wednesday, I'll be playing some crappy old indie game or something like that. And it's fun, and I like to have fun. And we can talk about movies and stuff too if you want. And you can find me on Twitter as well, same name. And yeah, that's the end of my little bit for myself. So I think it's time I toss it back on to Cap, and he can wrap this thing up.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay shiny, and we will see you again next month.